Renae Perry is the Chief Operating Officer at the Senior Source, a nonprofit organization serving older adults and family caregivers in the greater Dallas area since 1961. Renae has worked in various roles over the past 25 plus years. She's been at the Senior Source and has served in her current position for 12 years. She has extensive experience in nonprofit leadership and program development and loves working with the staff at the Senior Source to support older adults, caregivers, and volunteers to ensure the best quality of life possible. She has a bachelor's degree in social work from Howard Payne University and a master's degree in social work from the University of Texas at Arlington, and is licensed by the Texas State Board of Social Work Examiners. She has served on numerous advisory boards and councils, including Texas Health Resources Community Advisory Board, the Aging Mind Foundation Advisory Board, and the Family Violence Prevention Council. And she has chaired the Dallas Senior Employment Council. She is also an alumnus of the Leadership Dallas class of 2018. Renae and her husband Michael have 3 children, and Renae also enjoys volunteering at her kids' schools and has coached her daughter's volleyball team through the local YMCA for several years. So I am happy to present to you Renae Perry. Go ahead, Renae.
All right.
Oh, somebody, I hear background noise. Does anybody else hear that?
I do as well.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody if I can. I think I can. Oh, mute all. There it is. And then Renae will. Okay, Renae, sorry. You need to unmute yourself and begin again. Do you see where you do that? It's right next to the share button at the top. Just click on the mic button. There you go.
All right, I got it. Thank you so much, Dana. It's not like we've been doing virtual presentations forever, so but still, occasionally I get thrown. So thank you. All right, well, I so appreciate the opportunity to visit with you all for a few minutes about the Senior Source and the work that we are doing in the greater Dallas area. And so I'm going to just share a little bit about our work and some of the areas that we are focused on. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to either answer or get an answer for you. So like Dana mentioned, I have been at the Senior Source more than 25 years now. Was working on my master's in social work, and I had the chance to do an internship here at the Senior Source. And I fell in love with the mission and the work that was being done, and just hoped that there would be a job opening when I graduated, and there was, that they offered me. And so I've been here ever since in just a variety of roles, and I love the job that I have now. It really is a dream job, and I'm so happy to be able to work with our team and do all of the work that we do. So let me just advance this slide. So one thing, and this may come as no surprise to you all, I'm talking to the choir here, but we know that the growing older adult population, I mean, it's just continuing to expand. In the Dallas area alone, the growth is 5 times faster than any other age population. About a year ago, that was 2 times faster, and it's now 5 times faster. And this was based on some work that the Senior Affairs Commission with the City of Dallas did, and some data that they have. So we know that age group is growing faster than any other group. And sadly, it's the only group where the poverty rate is increasing. Every other age demographic has made some progress, and significant progress in some cases, in reducing that poverty. And but unfortunately, seniors are increasing in the number of people in poverty, which can also lead to other desperation and impact when you think about frauds and scams and vulnerability there. So, and we'll talk more a little bit later about that. This is our team at the Senior Source, and our mission is to enhance the quality of life for older adults in the greater Dallas area. And so you can see all of us there. That was our our fundraising luncheon last year. And so the way that we do, our focus is really on improving the financial well-being and emotional well-being for older adults. And we work with about 25,000 older adults and family caregivers each year through our different programs. And so one program that I know many of you are familiar with and perhaps have even worked with our staff on is our Elder Financial Safety Center. And this is actually a public-private partnership. It's a collaboration between the Senior Source, the Dallas County Probate Courts, and the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. And it's centered around prevention, protection, and prosecution of elder financial exploitation. And so with the prevention side, we at the Senior Source are really looking holistically at financial security and how we can ensure that older adults have financial security as they age. So that could mean additional income coming in. And so we have career services working with people over 50 who are looking for either full-time or part-time employment, financial coaching for folks. We want to ensure that everybody who is eligible for benefits is getting those benefits. And then we're also working with folks because sometimes someone will get a benefit, but then when that renewal time comes and they get that paperwork, they're not able to navigate that on their own. And so we also want to make sure if you've got a benefit that we're able to help ensure that you can continue that and renew that. Money management services for folks who are still independent, but really just need that additional support with the financial aspect of their lives. And so that could just be supporting them as they continue to pay their bills, or it could be by serving as representative payee for them. And so we've got folks in both of those situations through our money management services. And then just general budgeting. We see a number of people who maybe they weren't the one who managed the finances in their household and a spouse died, or they went through a divorce and now they're in that position for the first time, or they just just want additional expertise to help navigate that time. We also do a lot of insurance counseling. So often insurance is so closely tied to your financial security and having the right insurance and it being appropriate for your needs at this stage of your life. Medicare counseling or Medicare open enrollment just closed. And so we had staff who were super busy with helping folks just understand the implications of different decisions so that they could make informed choices or have informed choices. And so that we do that year round, really, for people who are turning 65. And while Medicare is really a focus, there is also insurance counseling on other lines of insurance as well. We're completely agnostic in terms of we just want people to make informed decisions, and we want to share the pros and cons of different benefits, different insurance products for folks. We're not financially motivated at all. We're a nonprofit. We don't benefit in any way from any, someone making one choice versus another. And so I think that's one thing that's really nice, because so often the information people are getting is not coming from unbiased sources. I mean, it could be trustworthy information, but you know, if it's not unbiased, sometimes there's that concern. Is it really in the best interest of that person when there's some sort of financial motivation there? Frauds and scams help. I know you guys know this better than anyone. The rate of frauds and scams is only increasing. We saw a 67% increase in the number of people who are coming to us who had been scammed just since the early COVID days to present. And it just, it's heartbreaking because, in just a few minutes of not thinking about the future implications, and how often we're tired. We're not always in the right mind space or headspace to make the best decision. And yet we are really, it's week about this, that it seemed legitimate, and just one lapse in judgment, and calling the number that was part of the text message versus independently calling your bank's customer service number just made all the difference. And this poor gentleman lost everything in that account. So we see, a mix of the stranger frauds and the text messages. We also see the AI voice. It sounds like your loved one calling and they're in need. And so, we're encouraging folks to really make sure that their family understands they have a word that's their word that they're not sharing with people. Just so they know, it's hard when you're in a position where you can't trust what you read, you can't trust what you hear. I mean, you truly have to independently verify everything. So we do a lot of work around trying to prevent that financial exploitation. And then when somebody has been a victim, we want to make sure that we're helping them. We can file the proper reports, help them protect themselves from future abuse, put the freeze on their account, all of the different things that need to happen when somebody is in that situation to protect themselves moving forward. So our team spends a lot of time doing that. And then we also talk about debt management and have some financial literacy programming and education that we do. We do a Money Smart for Older Adults series that we've adapted that is a multi-week program that we'll take out to different, the libraries or churches or different groups and do that there. And then obviously the Dallas County probate courts, their focus is on protection. So if there's somebody who's been exploited and they lack capacity and aren't able to make decisions to keep themselves safe, then they will step in and support through the guardianship investigation and placement process. And then of course the district attorney's office has the prosecution piece and is able to investigate and prosecute those crimes. And we work with about 7,000 folks through our Elder Financial Safety Center each year. And last year they protected, it was about $8 million of assets. And that varies from year to year, just based on the situations. Here you can see, I mean, you guys know these stats as well as I do. It's incredibly underreported. There's so much education that we still need to do to get the word out for people to understand this and how important it is. So that's huge. And then technology, we're finding the more people are trained in technology, the better they're able to protect themselves from one form of financial exploitation, because oftentimes that lack of digital literacy is what creates some sort of problem, and then the person is, feels unprepared, and then they're open to whoever it is saying that, ransomware or antivirus protection or whatever it is, they're more susceptible to that if they don't have some basic technology training. And so we've had a lot of success. We do classes at our office in Dallas off of Harry Hines Boulevard. We also have a partnership with Dallas College campuses. And so we're going out to different campuses and providing training there so that it's convenient for people who live in different parts of the community. Some classes are really focused on being competitive in the job market. Others are just things we need to know. How do you, shop online? How do you upload? What's the cloud? And how do you upload photos and things like that? Our new class is AI. We have AI for older adults, and we have a waiting list. Every time we put that class out, it's very popular. So, and staff have even learned a lot from that. So that's a great class. And then we have an app that the Elder Financial Safety Center developed with a partnership with UNT, the college, the law school, and the School of Human Services in the district attorney's office. So you can download it just like you would any other app. And it just has resources and information on for first responders, people who work with older adults, just so that they can identify those resources. They know the codes for investigation and what the criminal code is that connects with different crimes. So that's something the APS, a lot of APS workers have started using that app as well. And I know Julie Krozik, the director of our Elder Financial Safety Center, is talking with staff about expanding it even to other parts of the state. So we also have guardianship services. That's a small program here at the Senior Source. But there are times where, there's someone who maybe doesn't have family or friends able or willing to step up and serve as guardian, or they need guardian protection from family who've been abusing them. And so we're able to be named guardian of the person. We're not ever guardian of an estate. Most of our clients don't have an estate, but really just ensuring that the person has their needs met for the remainder of their life. They're in safe housing, their medical needs are met, and they're treated with dignity and respect. And then we work with a lot of caregivers, family who are in that situation where everything is great until it's not. And there's usually some sort of situation. Mom falls, she goes into the hospital, she's going to be discharged. Daughter or family, they don't know what to do. What does insurance cover? Is the home safe? What kind of accommodations need to be made? And all sorts of challenges that come up, and so many of us either have been caregivers or we will be caregivers. So it's important to know what resources are available. And so we do a lot of work just to help reduce the stress and just walk alongside somebody on that journey. And then we have support groups that are in English, in Spanish. We have a support group just for adult children, a support group for spouses, a support group for folks within the LGBTQ community who are caregiving. And so there's something about being part of that affinity group where you're surrounded by people who understand what your struggles are and what you're going through. And so we're always happy to talk with caregivers and help provide some resources, create an action plan for them. And then we also have all three of the AmeriCorps seniors programs. If you're familiar with AmeriCorps, that's basically the Domestic Peace Corps. And they have a component of AmeriCorps that's just for people 55 and older. And so we have senior companions, which are volunteers who are over 55 who work with older adults who are frail, who are still living in their own home, but need that socialization and support. And so they go out and really develop friendships. And I mean, it really is so moving how connected they can become when a client passes away and we're reading the obituary and we see that they've included the name of their senior companion when they're listing their family. And so it's a special program for sure. And then RSVP, we are recruiting volunteers and then connecting them with other nonprofits in the community to just help expand their capacity so that they can meet the needs that they're meeting and serve the community well. And then foster grandparents are very similar to senior companions, but instead of working with older adults, they're working with children who have special needs and are at like Head Start centers and medical facilities and places where there are children who benefit from the love of a grandparent figure. We also have the contract for the long-term care ombudsman program for Dallas County. Every county across the country is legally mandated to have an ombudsman. And so we advocate for the safety, welfare, health rights of residents in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And so that team, they are out there. They go, make regular unannounced visits. They address those concerns. And really, they're also educating people who are in that process of needing to choose a facility, what to look for, things to consider. We can help talk through what any deficiencies that different facilities have, as well as share the common complaints we see at facilities, specific facilities. They're not all the same. There's a wide variety out there, and so we just want to make sure that folks have the best information possible when they're making that decision. There's often a lot of emotion that is kind of part of that. And so if we can be helpful, we want to. And then we are also bringing the community into those facilities through our friendly visitor program, bringing community volunteers, groups, just to engage and do fun things with the residents. More than half of the residents in our facility never get visitors. And when you think about how incredibly isolating that is and how devastating that it can be physically and mentally and emotionally for those individuals, we want to do everything we can to reduce that. And then in addition to all of that work that we do, that's really one-to-one and providing direct services, we're also engaged in a lot of legislative advocacy efforts. These are our legislative priorities: elder financial abuse protections, long-term care facility resident protections, affordable and safe housing, and you can read. So the rest there. So we'll be, with the start of the state legislative session, we will be advocating for specific legislation around these areas. I was talking with somebody at the Dallas County District Attorney's Office a couple weeks ago. One area that we're going to be focused on has to do with title theft. And you guys probably hear and see that. That's a huge issue. And so there are going to be some bills focused on improving that and making, at least helping victims recover hopefully a little more easily, and then being able to seek justice a little more quickly in cases. And as well as, it's connected, but it's really going to be legislation around notary requirements and education and how long they're required to keep information, because there's such a strong connection between notary usage and then some of this title theft. So that's going to be something big to watch in this session, as well as some other long-term care protections for residents within those facilities. If you're interested, you can text Senior Source to that number 52886 to get signed up, and we'll send out advocacy alerts when there are bills and at key moments where we want our elected officials to hear from us. There aren't enough voices speaking up on behalf of older adults, and so we're trying to improve that so our legislators hear about us and hear from us about these important issues. We're going to be having a legislative forum on Monday here at the Senior Source, and we've got 3 elected officials at the moment confirmed to attend. And so we'll talk about the priorities that we have. And then we're working with the Alzheimer's Association, the North Texas Food Bank, VNA, Secure Our Senior Safety, and a couple other organizations. And so we'll be able to talk about more broadly those issues and priorities that affect older adults and hear more from those elected officials, what they think this session is going to involve. Dan Patrick just mentioned something very recently that a priority in this session was going to be around dementia funding and care. And so that is certainly a positive. And so hopefully there will be implications from that that will affect elder financial abuse protections and some other things as well. And then we're always out making presentations. Here are some of the things that we present on regularly. So if you're part of a group or you know of a group where this information could be helpful, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to talk more about that or see what we can do. And then this is me, my contact information. That's a lot of information that I just kind of threw at you. I hope that was helpful. I guess, Dana, any questions, or do we want to just open it up and see if there's some questions or comments?
Yes, thank you very much, Renae. Absolutely. Any question? I have one to start off as how are you different from the Area Agency on Aging? Where do you guys overlap or not?
That's a great question. So the Dallas Area Agency on Aging is a great partner, and we actually, in many cities and counties, the Area Agency on Aging houses the ombudsman program, the long-term ombudsman program. And so we subcontract that program and have since its inception, we've always subcontracted through them. So we're a grantee and we a subcontractor for ombudsman services. We also receive funding from the Area Agency for our caregiver support program, some of the efforts that we do through that program. And there are times where, like this past June, we had an Aging in Place conference, and we partnered with them on hosting that. And so, you know, there aren't a lot of organizations that serve older adults. And so, you know, those of us that do, we tend to work together quite a bit just to expand that the capability and the work that we're doing. So that was a great question. Thank you.
Gotcha. Thank you. And I saw Elva has her hand up, and somebody in chat said, love the Senior Source. Please tell Erica Sampson that Stas says she's the best.
I will do that. And she is the best. I tell you, I may be a tiny bit biased, but we have got some awesome people here, and I love working with them. It's a great team. Excellent. Thank you for saying that, and I will pass that on to Erica.
Okay. And Elva. Oh, you're muted. You have to unmute.